Hello, this is Pastor French welcoming you to another segment of Daily Bread. A few segments ago, I used a reference out of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. The discourse refers to the blessings or cursings that may come if we are obedient or disobedient to Jehovah. I realize he was saying this to the people of Israel, but I don't believe he holds us to a different standard. There's one verse in particular that stands out to me that I believe I can say without fear of contradiction that applies to today. And that is verse 28. Let me read it to you and see if you agree. The Lord will strike you with madness and blindness and confusion of mind. The Lord said that one of these things he would do if the people continued to reject him, was to smite them with madness. Jeff Minner, in his Hebrew lexicon, gives this definition of the Hebrew word as the action of one insane. The definition carries with it the idea of loss of reason or common sense. The ability to reason, it seems to me, is becoming a lost art in our world today. I hear politicians who are supposed to be educated people make some of the dumbest and most unreasonable statements. I listened to a lecture by a professor at a major university how we need to have a plague come on America and the world. Why? To reduce the population so mankind can survive. He went so far as to make a veiled suggestion that if one does not occur on its own, so to speak, we should cause one to happen. However, when it was suggested to him by someone who heard his lecture that he should be the first one to become ill and die, he became outraged. To him, it was all right for millions of other people to die as long as it didn't include him. By the way, he's not the only one who thinks this is a solution to population control. Every time I turn around, I hear something being said or an idea being put forth that is beyond reason by supposedly intelligent people. The next thing it states in the verse is blindness. This does not mean that everyone is going to lose their sight, but rather an inability to see the truth of things as they are or need to be. Just the other day, very close to where we hold services, a man went into the drive-thru of a fast food place late at night. He was told the kitchen was closed, and he became so infuriated he left and then returned with a gun and fired 3 shots at one of the employees, just because the kitchen had closed for the night. Thankfully, they all missed. That, my friend, is madness and blindness defined. I haven't heard if he has been caught as yet, but I would almost bet he is not a person we would think would do something like that. The problem with this is it is not an isolated incident. Things like this are becoming more and more frequent all the time. The last thing mentioned is astonishment of mind. Adam Clark, in his commentary, had this to say about this word. Stupidity and amazement. By the just judgments of God, they were so completely confounded as not to discern the means by which they might prevent or remove their calamities and to adopt those which led directly to their ruin. How true is the ancient saying, those whom God is determined to destroy, he first infatuates. But this applies not exclusively to the poor Jews. How miserably infatuated have the powers of the continent of Europe been in all their counsels and measures for several years past. And what is the result? They have fallen, most deplorably fallen, unquote. Understand, what he said about Europe was conditions in the early 1800s, as that was when he wrote his commentary. Notice when he uses the word infatuated. That is an interesting word when you understand the meaning. And here's Webster's definition, and it's as follows. Infatuated means to be affected with folly. Infatuate, to make foolish, to affect with folly, to weaken the intellectual powers, or to deprive of sound judgment. In general, this word does not signify to deprive absolutely of rational powers and reduce to idiocy, but to deprive of sound judgment, so that a person infatuated acts in certain cases as a fool, or without common discretion and prudence. Whom God intends to destroy, he first infatuates. I think it might be a reasonable assumption to say that what is happening today in America and other countries around the world, looking at the world as a whole, I couldn't rule it out. The only escape is to repent and turn back to Jehovah that we might be healed. And thanks for watching. And until next time, remember, give love. give life, give Jesus.